Randy Savage Elizabeth was mine before she was yours. Woo!
You say to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Well, in the Indiana Hoosier Dome at WrestleMania 8, when the smoke clears, I'm gonna be the man to beat the man. But I'm not gonna be beating a man. I'm gonna be beating a 1,000,000% liar. Yeah, I am no angel, but you are the dirtiest player ever to play the game. Messing with the reputation of my wife, you will never survive. No, you won't.
You're going to be damaged good, just like Elizabeth. You got to walk that out. You got to face the best wrestler alive today, the WWF Heavyweight Champion, WrestleMania 8.
This is the day that wrestling like Hulkamania either lives forever or it's all downhill. What happened at Royal Rumble? It was simple. I was the last man standing. I would be the world champion if it wasn't for you, Hogan, pulling me out from outside the ring. Sid Justice, Hulk Hogan's going to pay you a visit at WrestleMania. And what you're going to do when Hulk Hogan, the Maniacs, and the whole WWF run wild on you.
All I care about is one thing. I want to win back the Intercontinental Belt. You got it. I'm going to take it.
Why do it here when I can have 1,000,000 people watch me rip your head off?
This is the main event.
This is the main event. Mark's Podcast, WrestleMania edition. Now on the Unhinged Sports Network. I am your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, and cat dad, Troy Adams. And with me, as always, he is the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia, the main event collector, and the man who is going to kiss those moist, wet lips of your wife. He is the Mountie to my Repo Man. He's Greg. What's up, Greg?
I'm just going to say no to all of that.
Come on, you don't want to recreate the rapey promo of
Hell no.
the Nature Boy.
Nor do I want to be a Mountie.
Oh, come on, that one was a slam. Everybody wants to be the Mountie. All right,
Sure. You're very liberal with that word, everybody, aren't you?
okay. Everybody from Canada wants to be the Mountie. I mean, he's a national hero, right? You've been to Canada, don't they have like posters of him up everywhere?
Yeah, him and Gretzky, man, they're everywhere.
Yeah, you know, next to everybody's fireplace, or on the mantle of everybody's fireplace in Canada, they have three pictures. They have Jesus, Wayne Gretzky, and the Mountie.
And Robin Sparkles.
Oh, yeah. Bret Hart, they keep his picture by the bed. And somebody's like, do you have protection? And it's like, of course. Bret Hart will protect us.
He's their sharpshooter. Bum.
Hell yeah. All right, well, after that stupid intro, before we get into the event at hand, I want to let you know that we are here at the Main Event Marks. We are sponsored by Fubo TV and Fanatics. Click on the links down in the description. It is sports season, so you're definitely going to want to go check out Fanatics. But besides that, on Fubo TV, you can sign up right now. They have not just sports, but over 100 stations in your area that you can sign up for. And they have everything on demand. So if you miss something, you can go back and watch it on demand. It's that easy. Fubo TV. But this one is 1992, WrestleMania 8. And this was very strange if you look at it from the time period, because you think about a lot of people on the show. I didn't think about it until I was watching. I'm like, man, this is like the NWA invasion of WWF at this time. The two top matches on the card, you've got Sid Vicious and Ric Flair, who were mainstays in WCW for their career up until this point. And then we've got a handful of other guys from the NWA, and guys that would eventually go to WCW after this.
I feel like Shawn Michaels is the only one that stuck around.
Yeah.
And the Undertaker. Yeah. That's it, though.
Yeah. We'll get into all of that. But we're going to take our first break here, and when we come back, we're going to get into the news and notes of the time. That's what we do on this show. So we're going to take you back to the year 1992 for this one. We'll be right back.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the sport of kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. But before we get into the news and notes, if you're not already listening on the Unhinged Sports Network, tune in to unhingedsn.airtime.pro or just unhingedsn.com. You can hear us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We drop at the same time NXT and AEW Dynamite go live.
We should have dropped it on Tuesday so we can say we beat Impact.
Oh, yeah. That's something to shoot
All right,
for.
I watch Impact before anybody talks crap. Okay, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's been pretty good lately. I know the fun thing to do is take a shot at Impact's numbers. Hell, Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan do it every week.
Yeah. There are big changes in the WCW bean counting hierarchy as Jack Petrick has now followed Jim Herd out the door, and Bill Shaw replaced him as the president of WCW. Petrick's official reason for leaving is that he's working on some kind of 24-hour cartoon network that Turner is going to put together. That probably won't go anywhere.
I wonder how that's going to work out.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a flop. Nobody wants to watch cartoons 24/7. I mean, that's stupid. Bill Shaw's first act.
I got watched. No, sorry.
Bill Shaw's first act was to appoint Bob Dew as Kip Fry's immediate supervisor. Yes, this was the Kip Fry era, which oddly enough wasn't much better than the Jim Herd era. Or actually, it might have been worse.
That's virtually impossible.
You would think, but they were like, who's not doing anything right now? Kip, you run WCW. Okay. Oh, my gosh. But yeah, this was a weird time in WCW. A lot of changes. Jim Herd going out the door is literally the reason why we wouldn't be seeing Ric Flair much more past the show right here. When did he actually leave? Was it June?
No. He's in the 1993 Royal Rumble, so we will see him for a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that was the reason he, when he had the chance to jump out of the contract, he did. But at the same time, you and I talked about Ole was in charge when he made the jump, and that wasn't exactly great,
Well, yeah, because Flair ruined it by losing the credit on TV. What the hell could Ole do with him?
Who's going to believe that you're an actual threat to the world champion after you lose to Mr. Perfect? All right.
This was really sad. This was really, really sad.
And it was odd. And then, you think about it, it was odd that...
Flair's own mouth, by the way. That's why I heard this, so that's how I know it's true.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny that, years later, Flair and Hennig would have a big feud in WCW. So.
Yeah, Flair and Hennig would close the door on the Horsemen.
Yeah. Here's one kind of out of left field. Van Hammer didn't actually check into rehab as previously reported, but he instead went to a psychiatric facility for, quote, personal problems. I don't know if those personal problems were ever revealed.
I'm not making fun of that. It's not funny.
No.
It's just there's a Van Hammer story on here. It's just, wow.
I know. This is the thing. Like, Van Hammer's had a lot of issues throughout his life, career, whatever. If you remember a couple years ago wasn't he arrested for doing some crap? I don't even remember what the hell he did exactly, but I know he no-showed. I know he no-showed. That's why he got arrested or something. He had some issues going on when he no-showed StarCast that one time. You remember when that happened?
I remember Conrad saying that on one of the podcasts. Yes.
He buried Van Hammer until he found out he's got some issues going on, and then he pulled back on it. He was like, I hope he gets some help, whatever. But apparently Conrad pays everybody ahead of time that wants to be paid ahead of time, like a goodwill, whatever. And he took the money and split. So, needless to say, Conrad wasn't happy.
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but why the hell did you find it necessary to have Van Hammer at StarCast? At some point, it's not entirely Van Hammer's fault.
Well, that was the StarCast where he was having, like, everybody from, like, 92, 93 WCW.
I don't care.
He was getting, like, the jobbers, the mid-card guys.
Okay, again, I don't care. Van Hammer? Really?
Yeah, because, he was a part of WCW for a long time, and he got worse people than Van Hammer, I'll say that. That was the one he had the ding-dongs.
That would be chalked up as irony, but just...
Well, he got them. I think he had Muta, he had Sting do the 1990
you just followed up the ding-dongs with Great Muta and Sting.
I said they went from jobbers to main eventers, but I don't know if he got... Oh, my God,
you should be slapped for that.
I don't think he had Ron Simmons on that one, because I don't know if Ron Simmons is contracted to WWE or what, but here's another name that you're going to be like, oh, my gosh, you said that.
Let me prepare myself.
El Gigante is probably gone from WCW at this point because no one mentions his name. No.
And what point is this, March?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't even debut for 10 months in WWE.
Yeah. So
at least on TV.
Well, you got to take time to let it, simmer, and then you got, let the people forget about him, and then you debut him with that awesome new outfit. As giant Gonzalez.
On WCW, I was wearing like biker shorts and like a tight shirt. It's not like it was a huge downgrade.
I would rather wear the biker shorts.
He grew out the mullet, though. That looked pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah, and his big old beard, because he was clean-shaven through most of his WCW run, if I remember correctly.
But, he doesn't get enough credit for? He was a really built big dude.
Yeah. When he was El Gigante, there were a couple times I'm like, my gosh, he's just lanky. Like, he's really tall.
Yeah, but like, he was not like girthy. He was just like huge.
Well, because he was a basketball player, so he had that. You could definitely tell when he was El Gigante. But that was the thing with him. Like, he just kept getting jobs where you're like, why? And I'm not trying to bury the dead, but it's kind of, common knowledge at this point. It's not like I'm hiding anything by by saying he was bad. But he apparently was signed to the Atlanta Hawks, because he played basketball in Argentina, and they were like, he's going to be the next, well, Shaq, was Shaq playing at the time? I don't know my basketball history.
No, I don't think so, not yet.
Okay. I can't remember.
He may be just getting ready to come into the league.
Yeah,
okay, so he actually probably was playing at the time, just not in the NBA.
Yeah. But they were like...
Let's go Hakeem Olajuwon, he was about that big.
Right. Yeah, they were like, well, he's huge, he's just going to, stand there and whatever. But he sucked, so they...
The whole thing sucked?
They released him, but they saw, I guess, WCW personnel saw him in the CNN Center, and they were like, holy crap, he'll be our next Andre. And so then they also...
So it's not just Vince saying that. Oh, my God, get him.
Yeah, they were like, he's huge. That was the whole thing, apparently. They just kept, he'll be the next Andre. He'll be our Andre. It's like, yeah, but Andre was good and I had a brain. It just, apparently this guy was a super nice guy, not very smart. So, my favorite story was always Jim Ross training for promos. And he was like, all right, and go. And he goes, Ric Flair, I kill you. And he's like, you're not killing anybody, George. He's like, we can't promote murder. All right, you're talking about what you're mad at him. All right, let's go again. And he goes, Ric Flair, I kill you. It's like, damn it, no, you're not killing anybody. Let's go again.
Can't promote murder, but yet they promoted the murder of the entire company.
Oh my gosh.
That's the ironic part.
Different administration, Craig. But going from one Jim story to another, Jim Cornette's new Smoky Mountain Wrestling holds their first big show on May 22nd to crown their first champion and tag champs. I didn't look it up to see who won those matches, but it's probably some rednecks.
I'm going to say the tag champs were either the Midnight Express, who I know were already out because of Jim Herd, or the Heavenly Bodies.
I think it was the Rock and Roll. So
secret option number 3.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know who the first champion was, like, quote unquote world champion, heavyweight champion,
I couldn't even tell you who was in the company. So
Dirty White Boy, I know he was one of their big names.
That was the plumber, right?
Yeah, T.O. Hopper. Yeah. He was actually skinny back then and had some hair. I like how he's like
that back then. We're talking 92, and he debuts in 95. So in 3 years, he gains all that weight and loses all that hair. In 3 years?
Yep. Oh, Cornette said when he's like, when he was, because Cornette was talking about, he's like, oh, well, when Tony Anthony was in WWF, he's like, I mean, he got pretty doughy at that point. He's like, he did not look like that when he worked for me. So it's like, yeah, but I don't know. I could never look at him.
Though, man. I mean, that's my sticking point in this whole thing. In 3 years, he looked like that.
He got that perennial jobber money, man. Come on.
I'm not making fun of anyone's look. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, that's a drastic change in 3 years, dude.
Yep.
I mean, we're not talking like cutting your hair and stuff like that. We're talking losing your hair and gaining like 1,000 pounds. I'm like, dude, man.
Good grief.
I'm not laughing. I swear I'm not. It's just like, what the hell did you do?
Went to an all-you-can-eat buffet and quit going to Planet Fitness. I don't know.
He goes to Planet Fitness.
Yeah. Eastern Championship Wrestling debuted on March 24th with the usual local guys like Johnny Hotbody, DC Drake, and JT Smith on top.
Man, there's a trio you won't forget.
The only name I know is JT Smith, because he was the black guy in the FBI.
That's right, yeah. No.
The rest of them, I was like, Johnny Hotbody? That sounds like a missed opportunity for John Morrison. That should have been one of his names.
No, that's just who he is.
Yeah, well, that's his nickname, not necessarily his wrestling name.
I believe he himself has that trademark, so they can't use it on TV without paying him.
Yeah, right. Well, speaking of Hotbody, superstar Billy Graham, on the heels of
this should be good.
On the heels of all of his whistle blowing.
Sorry, let me guess. This is the thing about the Donahue thing. Am I right?
Elaborate.
He was on the Phil Donahue show about the steroid scandal and all that.
It's technically unrelated.
Oh, okay.
But that
I took a shot.
Okay, well that kind of opens my eyes to what this first line, because it says on the heels of all his whistle blowing. So I was like, I mean, the first thing that came to mind, and I didn't even know, but I was like, did he talk about steroids? And ding, 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 when you know who won the pony.
Yeah. I remember seeing this because it's on YouTube, and he's on there, Vince is on there, and freaking Dave Meltzer's on there. He's rocking
that's the one.
Sweetest mullet you've ever seen, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Great day for that. But, yeah, it's just funny because Vince never calls him Billy or Billy Graham. He always calls him Superstar.
That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome.
He doesn't really... He still respects his legacy, if you ask me, and he'd do that, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, if you ask Meltzer, he'd probably say, oh, Vince is still in carny mode, but whatever. Either way, Superstar underwent surgery for replacing his artificial hip and suffering a partially collapsed lung during the operation, losing a lot of blood in the process.
Yeah, man. That guy's never not had health problems.
Yeah. Well, if anybody checks out my latest side project, Retro Wrestling Review, I actually covered a few matches. I do like a watch-along format, and I did for Superstar Billy Graham in like the late 70s for my first episode, and he's got like a full head of hair, but you can tell it's kind of thinning, and I'm sitting there like, man, in 5 years, you'd be like cue ball bald.
I think he did it on himself, though. I think he just shaved it.
Yeah, but, well, he was starting to have the Hulk Hogan thing, because if you look, like, right before he shaved it, it was getting pretty thin. But, yeah, and this guy, when was it he was in WCW doing the Karate Man gimmick?
I don't remember.
I think that was late 80s, whatever. It's just like, oh, we have Superstar Billy Graham, and he's wearing...
Ethan Page wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, right, yeah, and that was the inspiration. But I just love how they're, it's like, oh, we have Superstar Billy Graham, way past his prime, with a ton of health problems, and he's dressed like he's going to be in Beverly Hills Ninja or something. Whatever. Some more bumbling whatever with health problems and whatnot. Here we go. Kerry Von Erich was arrested again after failing to attend rehab as a condition for his release after his last arrest, and he spent 2 hours in jail and paid $7,500 in bail to get out. Kerry is claiming that he already completed a rehab program, quote, in California, and ended up spending the entire 2 hours that he was in jail just signing autographs for other prisoners.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, Kerry he got a lot of issues, man.
Yeah.
I know, stating the obvious here, but it was like easy target at this time because just like it was like he was always arrested. He was always, getting super high and messed up and couldn't perform or something. It's just like,
I feel bad for the entire family.
Yeah.
It was just cursed, man.
Yeah, there is a lot to be said about, generational curses, family curses, whatever. I mean, there's that. You look at the Graham family with Eddie and Mike Graham, where it's like Eddie's father committed suicide, Eddie committed suicide, Mike's son committed suicide. I think Mike's brother might have committed suicide, and then Mike committed suicide. Like, good grief. Like, that entire family, the men, just killed themselves. And then there was...
I don't understand it. I just, I know it happens.
Weird.
It sucks, but, how does the whole family do it? Individually.
I know. I
don't think I ever want to understand that. It's just heartbreaking. I don't ever want to understand that.
Yeah. Was it, and 2 is bad enough, but was it only 2 Von Erichs that killed themselves, Chris and Kerry?
I feel like there was a couple more, actually. It was on that history of the WCCW documentary.
Yeah. Well, I know David died of an actual, sickness, his stomach ruptured. I don't remember the others. But, yeah, it's not good. Bad. But Mike is the one I always forget. I always forget.
How do you forget him, man? He never drew a dime.
And you're right. He did commit suicide. Apparently, he drank alcohol and overdosed on sleeping pills. So the one out of 3 suicides that didn't shoot himself. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm just that's how they died. It's sad. But anyway,
I loved Kelly when I was a kid, man. That was my guy.
He was cool. He was a good wrestler. He looked good. It's just he was charismatic.
I remember watching SummerSlam 90, I think it was. Yeah, when he won the Intercontinental title, man, I just went crazy.
Was he just the Texas Tornado at that point, or was he actually using his name?
I think he was Texas Tornado Kerry Von Erich. They would drop Kerry Von Erich very soon.
Yeah, okay. Well, speaking of drugs here, the WWF held a press...
Sorry about that segue.
Well, you'll see why. The WWF held a press conference with a new steroid czar, Mauro Di Pasquale.
Sorry, did you say czar?
Yeah, steroid czar.
What the hell's a steroid czar?
He overlooks the lack thereof steroids, I guess. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, Mauro...
I was 10 years old when I learned that one.
Yep. Well, in politics, they're like, well, we have to have a climate czar and this the czar and that czar. What's with all the czars, man? But anyway, Mauro Di Pasquale was apparently the first Mauro in WWF, where they again parroted the line of crap about how 50% of wrestlers tested positive initially, and now it's down to 15%. Mauro is claiming that the company will be, quote, clean in May beyond IOC standards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
How do you get beyond IOC? It's literally as high as you can get. Wow, that's a horrible way to say it. That's the top of the heap as far as drug testing goes.
Has USADA passed them up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Seeing as they still allow some stuff. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
really?
obviously it has to be exempt, but like, with the
I thought
IOC
it was
though,
pretty
you can't have
strict.
anything.
Wow.
Well, they are strict. It's just like if you have exemptions, you can, I mean, like doctor says, whatever.
Yeah.
Not in the Olympics though.
I like how this article I was reading had a picture to accompany it. It was a picture of Ultimate Warrior in 1992, and it said, "Clean beyond IOC standards."
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah. Well, and hey,
I
here
love
we go.
Ultimate Warrior, so I ain't touching that. So.
I do too. I mean, it's just at this point, it's like low hanging fruit. But here we go. We've talked about this guy a couple times. Everybody's favorite Mushnick in wrestling.
And
Phil.
mine.
Yeah. Phil Mushnick immediately wrote a scathing critique of the press conference because, of course, he effing did. Calling
Hold
it
on, I'm sorry, real quick. This is the guy that went off on them for Brian Pillman's death, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he also went off on WCW before, back when they were the good promotion, quote unquote. He went off on them saying that no civilized person should watch this show and Turner needs to cancel it because he's embarrassing his entire company by having WCW on the books and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Anyway,
An educated man. Okay, cool.
Right. But he called the press conference a, quote, tip sheet for steroid junkies and mocking them for trying to portray the positive benefits of steroids in treatment of MS. Quote, "Oh, so that's it. The WWF steroid use was merely an experiment to aid in research of muscle disease," end quote. Mushnick also pointed out the blatant contradiction of Vince going on Larry King and claiming there was, quote, zero steroid use in the WWF, and then holding a press conference where he said it was 15%. All right, that one, I'll give him that one. That was, how can you go on Larry King and be like, there is absolutely zero steroid use, and then a couple days later you're like, we're down to 15%. Like, what?
Well, maybe he tested everybody and 15% of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Dumb.
Look, at the end of the day, I hate it. It's no one should do it, but wrestling is not a combat sport or anything like that. So
yeah,
this is just for aesthetics, and I'm not endorsing it.
Yeah,
I'm just
Arn
saying.
Arn Anderson, Jim Ross, and a few others have talked about. They're like, why can't we have steroids in wrestling? It's like, yeah, it's not healthy, and if done, they said, they did point out. They said, okay, if you're going to do steroids, talk to your doctor about it and do it, as healthy as you could possibly do it.
Well, first and foremost, don't.
Yeah. Well, they said, you can get a doctor telling you the proper way to use steroids so you're not, killing yourself.
Yeah, because there are illegal steroids out there.
Yeah. But they said, they're like, I don't understand. They're like, it's not a sport. Are you going to go drug test all the people on Broadway? Who cares?
Well, at this point now I get it. It's a bad PR. In this day and age, I get it.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah, here, of course. And with the dirty doctors and whatever that they supposedly had, it was bad. But I don't know. I agree.
Just want to make it clear, I'm not endorsing it. It's just
right.
There's so many other places that you should be stopping steroids first.
Yeah, pro wrestling is just
boxing should be the top one. MMA should be tops. I didn't say MMA first because there was no MMA back then. But
I'm gonna put a caveat on it. I'm not advocating abusing steroids because you can abuse. But if you use steroids in a controlled way, whatever, it's whatever. It's not.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You're gonna kill yourself. Don't do it. But
yeah, but it's that's kind of your own business, I guess.
I think it's in the same line as smoking. Don't do it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's your decision as long as you're not cheating to win a game or something.
And this one is you. Yeah, and this one is you can argue it's well, if you do steroids, you'll look better. If you look better, they'll want to promote you. Therefore, it's helping you get ahead.
Yeah, but then on the other side of the coin, it's you can look better, but you're going to be dead soon. You never know. So it's
Well, my reply to that is there are a lot of muscle-bound meatheads that didn't get the top spot. And, and I'm not saying this guy did steroids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about how he looked. Mason Ryan was gigantic, and he looked like he would be a top guy, but he was, shoved down the card because he sucked. So, you can make yourself look great all you want, but it's not necessarily a performance enhancer in wrestling. But
to sum it up, don't do steroids.
Yeah, basically.
Don't.
But getting on to a couple of lawsuit stories here. We talked about this one I think last week, perhaps, I can't remember. In a previous episode, we talked about this. On the Geraldo Rivera show, quote,
oh, God.
Apparently it was
sorry,
called...
that's just a horrible segue to anything. So, okay, sorry.
Well, apparently it was called Now It Can Be Told. I didn't know. I just always thought it was just the Geraldo Rivera show. But anyway, they revealed a big accusation from former referee Rita Chatterton, who made claims that Vince promised her $500,000 a year and a major magazine cover in exchange for sex. She claims that Vince forced her to have sex in his limo in July of 1986, and when she refused further acts, she was fired as a referee. The statute of limitations has since expired, but her lawyer is pressing onwards because he feels that he can prove that it was a constant pattern with the company. The story was corroborated by former limo driver Joe Stewart, who also has a lawsuit pending against Vince. Disgruntled employee backing up another disgruntled employee. Wow. I'm just going to say this. I don't think this ever went anywhere. And yeah, the statute of limitations were over. And
what's the point of filing it after the statute of limitations is over?
I really don't know. And here's my thing. She knew she was going to lose, which is exactly why she went on national television to drop this. Because, well, if I can't win in actual court, I'll drag his name through the mud. I'm not saying it 1,000%, because obviously neither you nor I were there. I can't say beyond a shadow of a doubt that nothing happened, but I'm going with, nothing was proven. Nothing, it's a pattern of behavior. Like, so you can prove that he was raping other women? Because I don't think so. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird time. Of all the things Vince had been accused of throughout the years, this is one of the weirdest ones that kind of, I was like, whoa, all right. But we go to this one. You might remember this one. Another referee named Michael Clark claims that he was fired after refusing an advance from Terry Garvin. Garvin allegedly offered Clark a green card to get into the U.S., plus $500 and bookings all throughout Canada as a referee in exchange for oral sex. Clark further noted that there was a group of referees and ring boys doing favors for Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin.
Never heard that one before. Wait, was Terry Garvin gay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, but I didn't know that.
Right.
But I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah.
He was a referee?
Yeah. Apparently.
Was he on any notable shows?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know him if I saw him. I mean, like I said, he was just a referee. So I had heard of the story because people talked about, Pat Patterson was offended because he was the, quote unquote, the other gay guy. So he got pulled into all this. Nothing ever got proven. I think they did.
Be a thing for that poor man.
Yeah. I know. He always got accused of stuff because he was the gay guy. And I guess
pretty rotten, but
I think Garvin did get let go because of this. And I think they did prove that he was, promising people things if they did him, sexual favors and whatnot. So
I didn't know that. Okay, well.
I mean, I think that's what I remember, but if I'm wrong,
this is a very dark time in wrestling, man. Just the steroid trials coming up and everything. Holy crap.
Sex scandals, drugs.
You picked a hell of a year, dude.
Yeah, 1992 was weird.
God, this was like some of my most hardcore fandom, too, looking back.
It was a good year as far as, like, the on-screen product, I'll say. But, yeah, behind the scenes was a little rough. Last thing here is a little later in the mood. This was another one that is like, talk about the WCW invasion of WWF at the time. Lex Luger appeared on the WWF Superstars show to plug the World Bodybuilding Federation, WBF. They had a weekly show.
He was on Superstars before WrestleMania?
Yes.
Oh, I always thought his debut was at WrestleMania 8.
No, he was on an episode of Superstars, and then he was on WrestleMania. And apparently, Kip Fry was furious. He went on a radio show and acknowledged that there was a loophole in the contract that technically allowed Luger to do that, but he said that it made the WWF look like slime balls, but as long as he doesn't wrestle, it was fine. When did he actually debut as a wrestler?
I believe he debuted as the Narcissist at Royal Rumble 1993. I don't think he was wrestling yet before that. Because it was, quote, the big unveil.
Yeah. I like how he's, like, working a pro wrestling gimmick on the WBF. Like, Hey, guess who was, like, not a total hater of that, by the way? You'll never believe it.
Because you said it like that, I'm going to say Jim Cornette.
No. No, he hated it. He said it was
because that would be a shocking thing to me.
It would.
Say, guess who wasn't a hater? Cornette? Yeah.
Okay. Dave Meltzer actually said it wasn't that bad.
Shocker.
Yeah.
The one thing he likes is the bodybuilding.
Yeah. And
anybody who listens knows, I've said forever, like, the guy's only good thing is, good Lord, he is freaking ripped.
Yeah, I know.
I seriously think he can rip a tree trunk in half if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's a large man. He is like the least intimidating jacked dude I've ever seen in my life, though.
It's the hair.
It's the hair. It's the face. It's the clothes he wears. I mean, there's that press.
When I saw him at the Shark Tank, dude, he was wearing like MC Hammer style pants and a fanny pack. So there you go.
He strikes me as one of those guys that tucks his t-shirts into his jeans and then wears a belt.
Oh, good old boy.
That's what everybody born before, like, 1980, I'd say, all do that. So, I don't know. But, yeah, he's a jacked mofo. But, all right, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're going to dive right into WrestleMania 8 from April of 1992.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the Sport of Kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're now back. We're about to dive into the event at hand, but first, make sure you click on the links down in the podcast description for Fubo TV and Fanatics. They are our sponsors today. And also, if you're not listening to us on the Unhinged Sports Network, go to unhingedsn.com every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is right when AEW and NXT kick off. All right, so you ready to dive into WrestleMania 8 here?
I think so. I thoroughly enjoyed this, but
yeah, it was a good one. WrestleMania 8 took place April 5th, 1992. It had dueling taglines. The first one was Friendship Torn Apart, and the second one was The Macho Flair Affair. It took place in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Or as we used to call them when we were kids, the Hoosier Mama Dome.
Good Lord. Of course you did. I was,
what do you call it? What's that word? Immature 11, 12-year-olds. So.
Yeah. But, yeah, if they hadn't already announced, like, the next, 3 WrestleManias and where they're going to be and whatever, I really wish, for the 30-year anniversary of this, they'd go to Lucas Oil Stadium.
They're not going to go there now because there's not much to do there.
I know.
Back then, they just put it there. Like, what the hell's they doing in Indianapolis? Go look at the Peyton Manning statues?
I know. I get that, and, I get that they want to have, an experience or whatever, but there's a lot of venues around there. It's a beautiful arena. I would stadium, whatever. I would love to go there, and it's like 2 hours from my house, so I don't know. I can see the Colts Stadium from my house.
Good Lord.
But the attendance was 62,000.
Well, they haven't announced WrestleMania 40 yet, by the way. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
I think that's going back to New Orleans personally, but okay.
But the attendance was 62,167. The pay-per-view buy rate was 2.33, which amounted to 360,000 buys. This was the third WrestleMania in a row that the buy rate dropped. WrestleMania 9 had a 70,000 buy increase from WrestleMania 8.
Because Yokozuna's over.
Yeah, it's like, people credit that to, it's like, oh, it was a nice change of pace in the main event. It's like, I guess, but, like, you'd rather see that? All right. WrestleMania 9 sucked, by the way, just if people don't already know. But, yeah, Uncle Dave says that, quote, let me try that again. Uncle Dave says, quote, the announced crowd of 62,000 people at the Hoosier Dome was, he said it was heavily papered. Not only that, but the final 30,000 tickets averaged about $10 each, leaving the gate at around $1.25 million, which was about half of what they projected. But the opening package was a typical early 90s WWF opener with Vince McMahon hyping up the show and yelling at us. I used to dig those. And
they were the best, man.
Yeah, I know.
WrestleMania 6 still the standard, but
I wonder if he could still muster that up, like screaming at us before a pay-per-view.
Did you see his send-off to The Undertaker?
No.
Yeah, okay, well, no, he couldn't still do that to this day. He barely could scream The Undertaker, so.
That sucks. But the actual show opens with Reba McEntire singing The Star Spangled Banner. That actually threw me for a loop because I was expecting her to sing America the Beautiful. Yeah, they always do America the Beautiful. And I guess when Bruce Pritchard was asked about it, it's like, why doesn't he go with Star Spangled Banner? He said, he likes America the Beautiful better. It's like, okay, simple answer. But the first match, we get El Matador versus Shawn Michaels with
Are we going to skip
Sherry.
over Bobby Heenan calling her Tito's cousin, Reba McEntire?
Yeah, I was going to mention that, yeah. I laughed as a kid. Like, I laughed again thinking, because I don't know why that stuck out in my head. I was like, what show was that she was on? I'm like, oh, it was this one. It's like, oh, it's Tito's cousin. It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, Reba. It's like, well, you stop it. But, yeah, anyway, this match went just over 10.5 minutes. Was it El Matador, Tito Santana, or just El Matador at this time?
I think he just became El Matador, Tito Santana, so I think it's about to not be.
Okay. Well, Shawn Michaels at this time is doing his super kick, which Gorilla Monsoon calls the reverse crescent kick, as a cutoff move. So that's not even his finisher at the time. But he ends up winning by holding onto the top rope during a body slam attempt. He lands on Santana, and he pins him. Uncle Dave said, quote, not bad, but disappointing. Pretty dull, although Michaels spent the last minute doing his Kurt Hennig impression by bumping all over the ring. He and I both gave it 2 stars. What say you?
I gave it 2. I did like one thing at the beginning when Shawn Michaels making his entrance. You can hear Bobby Heenan, because like they're still filing in, and from my knowledge, they open the gates late. Wow. And he says on there, oh, these idiots, they set their clocks back instead of ahead, so they're all late.
What the hell?
Like, that's a pretty good cover.
Yeah, I love Heenan. Yeah, he threw in a lot of gems on this one. What was the back of Michael's jacket? What did it say? I'm too sexy for this event?
Yeah, or for this crowd.
No, okay. Yeah,
I have that figure right here on my wall.
I have the Jax version of that look, but he's like his jacket just says like has his logo on it. It doesn't say that.
This one has the full thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing that figure. I was like, WrestleMania 8. It's a little surprising to me that they've actually come out with quite a few WrestleMania 8 specific figures. Somebody at Mattel really loves WrestleMania 8. But we now get an interview in front of the live crowd where Sean Mooney calls out the Legion of Doom, who is bringing out Paul Ellering as their manager. Was this his debut?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
You can tell by the way Heenan's like shocked.
Yeah. Well, they cut a very long promo that I guess was just meant to introduce Ellering to the WWF audience. And Uncle Dave has to throw in, nobody knows who the hell he is. Like, I mean, some people probably
I'm sure
don't.
there were a lot of hardcore fans that knew exactly who he was.
Yeah, it's like, he acted like the crowd was dead for this. It's like, it sounded like they were pretty loud. They even chanted LOD when Animal got him to start chanting. So either way, Jake Roberts is now interviewed in his locker room about his upcoming match with The Undertaker. They show clips from the funeral parlor where Jake slammed Undertaker's hand into a casket, DDT'd Paul Bearer, and then he hit Undertaker in the back with a chair. That's a very famous segment if people don't remember. But getting to the actual match at hand here, it was Jake the Snake Roberts versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer. It went just over 6.5 minutes. After 2 DDTs, Jake goes outside the ring to try to take the urn from The Undertaker, but The Undertaker tombstones him outside, rolls him in, and pins him. Nothing much to this, but it got The Undertaker over as a killer. Uncle Dave said, quote, real bad, especially considering how anticipated this was. He gave it 3/4 of a star. I give it 1.5 stars. What say you?
Yeah, I get 1. It was a horrible letdown. Keep in mind, though, Jake was on his way out. Apparently, he basically held them up, not Warrior style, for money, but said that he wanted out, and if he didn't get released, he wasn't going out to do this match. So.
Yeah, I'd heard.
He said that himself on his documentary, so that's the only reason I quote it, because I heard him say it. So.
Yeah, I had read that he quit right before this match, and it's like, oh, well then. Well, wouldn't he be at Halloween Havoc 1992?
Yeah.
In that epicness, with the coal miner's glove? We got to review that someday, Greg.
Do we? Do we really?
We should. I don't see why not. Folks. All right, maybe next year for the anniversary. But Mean Gene Okerlund interviews Bret Hart and Roddy Piper backstage before their match, and things almost get physical. Piper's making jokes about growing up knowing the Hart family and how Bret was always slow to pick things up. Bret is all business, though. I dug the energy of this one. Like, Piper starts out getting real silly and talking about, growing up, your mom would always make us bologna sandwiches, slapped about, only one piece of bologna. But, it was fine, though, and talking about Bret Hart, always wetting his pants and whatever.
What the hell was that about, dude? How the hell did you get a bologna promo before a match?
And talking about Bret Hart wetting his pants and whatever, and Bret's like, yo, hey, I want the Intercontinental title, and they almost come to blows.
Piper pulls his belt off and is gonna cream him with it.
I know. My favorite thing was Piper's line where he's like, why do it here when I can have 1 million people watch me rip your head off? I'm like, wow, nice.
Aren't those 1 million people watching this right now?
Yeah. It's like there's not 1 million people in the crowd.
So, the better thing to be 60,000 people can watch me do it?
Yeah, right. But here we go. It's Rowdy Roddy Piper defending the Intercontinental title against Bret the Hitman Hart. This one went just shy of 14 minutes. Man, I did say that freaking bowl cut on that damn referee is so distracting.
Oh, I think it was epic. You shut your mouth.
And
the bow tie. Oh, man.
Whew, he looks like, I was like, damn, dude, save some ass for the rest of us. He was clearly a ladies' man, all right? He got all the numbers at the bar.
He is the bar.
Yeah. When talking about countries they're broadcasting from, by the way, Heenan says that he's going to be in Sheffield, England in a couple of days. Gorilla Monsoon says, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Heenan asks if Monsoon is going to be there too, and Gorilla says, yeah, unfortunately. Wow. Like, damn, dude.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. No offense to anybody in England, but I've heard people from the UK themselves say, never go to Sheffield. So
really?
Yeah, apparently it's a dump. There you go. But anyway.
Wait, there's other places in England other than London? I'm shocked.
There's Manchester. That's where the British Bulldog's from. Bret Hart bled like a stuck pig in this match, claiming that it was accidental, and he was opened up the hard way. The goofy-looking referee gets bumped. Piper grabs a ring bell, and he's about to hit Bret Hart with it, but he decides against it. He tosses it aside and locks in the sleeper hold, but Bret kicks off the turnbuckle and rolls it into a pin just in time for the goofy-looking ref to get up and make the count. Bret Hart wins it. Uncle Dave and I both gave this 3.5 stars. What say you?
I went a little higher. I said 4. I love this match.
I did too. I really liked it. It was a great technical match with some brawling mixed in there. Damn, man. It just, this was almost like a dream match at the time.
I remember watching it thinking, I was gonna hate Piper after this because he was turning bad. Luckily, he didn't. But yeah.
Yeah.
I forget who I was rooting for in this match when I was watching. I watched this one live. I just forget who I was rooting for. I liked them both. And a face versus face back then was a really weird thing, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and Roddy Piper, obviously, at the if you watch the match, he's doing heelish stuff, but that's kind of just what he does in the match. But he doesn't actually go full heel. And like I said, he even had a change of heart where he's about to blast him with a ring bell, and he's like, no, because the crowd's starting to boo, and he looks around, he's like, nah, and he tosses it aside. It was good stuff, man. Really, really good. They both maintain their babyface, status. And after the match, Piper shakes Hart's hand. He puts the Intercontinental title around his waist, and they celebrate together. So that was a cool moment. 1992 was a big year for Bret.
Yeah.
I think, not to give anything away, but around SummerSlam time, we might look at another big triumph of his.
Series.
Good Lord.
No, that's when it happens in November, not SummerSlam.
Well, he didn't win the title. He lost the match, but he had a great match. Is what I'm talking about. It's SummerSlam.
Oh, don't be one of those.
Yeah. Well, he
made it all about him because he's a freaking little prima donna. Bulldog's moment. That was not his moment. That was my moment. Shut up.
I think that was a stupid thing for him to say for sure. But
a lot of things he said is stupid.
Both of them. But hey, man, Bret Hart loves him some Bret Hart. All right. But both of them put on a clinic. I love that match, and we'll be talking about that. But anyway, getting into this next segment here, we get a satellite interview with Lex Luger and the commentators. Luger is putting himself over, and he's also putting over the World Bodybuilding Federation. It ends with Luger taking his shirt off, flexing, and then drinking a glass of milk.
Lex must pose.
Yeah, this was just I like how Bobby Heenan, is so giddy to see a shirtless Lex Luger, and then Lex snaps his fingers, and a beautiful woman brings him a glass of milk that he drinks right there in front of everybody. What the F is going on in that house?
Far cry from Survivor Series 93, where he's doing a promo, his wife and kids are right there with him.
I know, right? And according to Bruce Pritchard, that that whole thing was torture. But anyway, we now go to the locker room where the Mountie, the Nasty Boys, and the Repo Man are all talking trash about their opponents.
What a motley crew that is.
It looks like four guys at a Halloween party where somebody left out the bowl of cocaine. This was the goofiest bull crap. Wow. And then we go in front of the WrestleMania logo backstage where we get an interview with Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan, Big Boss Man, and Virgil. This seems like something goofy that should have been on a Survivor Series. It's just ugh, man. But you want to talk about
Virgil's face, by the way. Let's.
Yeah, he's wearing a face mask. I guess he broke his nose or something.
I don't even know the backstory of that. I'm stumped. I forget.
Something happened to his nose. That's all I know. But if somebody could fill us in, that'd be great.
I have to go back and look now at the past superstars because I'm like, why is he wearing that on his face?
Well, you want to talk about big triumphant moments, man. Here we go. The Mountie, the Repo Man, and the Nasty Boys with Jimmy Hart in their corner are taking on Sergeant Slaughter, the Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Big Boss Man, and Virgil. This went just shy of 5.5 minutes. Yes, an 8-man tag went just shy of 5.5 minutes. But you'll be thanking the wrestling gods for that one. Ray Combs.
Thank you, JBL.
Ray Combs of Family Feud did the ring announcing in exchange for the WWF guys doing his show soon after this, which Bobby Heenan puts over on commentary. Apparently it was Bobby Heenan and 3 other guys from the WWF taking on competitors from the WBF.
I know one of them was Shawn Michaels because he takes a shot at Michaels a year later. Ray Combs does at the Survivor Series 93. He goes, when Shawn Michaels was on the show, he said, "Tell us a state that starts with the word new," and he said Nebraska.
What the hell?
Apparently that was real.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Good grief. Yeah. So Ray Combs, for those who don't know, anything about Family Feud, was he the second or third host of Family Feud?
I think he might have been the second.
Yeah. Took over for I can't remember the guy's name, but the first guy who hosted the thing. Yeah. He hosted it for like a million years. But yeah, unfortunately, Ray Combs, committed suicide, later on. But obviously, it was well past this. But he was pretty funny. He makes a lot of jokes about the heels, and he gets over the survey.
He was a comedian, right?
I don't know. I don't know what he was. I don't know anything about him past him being on Family Feud. So, but he was pretty funny. You'd have to go back and listen to some of the jokes he tells at this, because he says, well, we asked 100 people, and 100 people said, whatever, doing the Family Feud thing. But everybody gets jobber entrances for this match, by the way. The match ends with miscommunication from the Nasty Boys, leading to Virgil pinning Brian Knobbs. Yeah,
Brian
man.
effing Knobbs, man.
He probably got a bonus of F money after this. But
what the hell?
What? But anyway, I said blah filler. Uncle Dave gave this a 1/4 of a star. I gave it an even star. Let's see you.
I had to give it something, so I gave it a star, but it was brutal.
I don't know why this was on the card, but whatever, it was.
Because Virgil's the main event wherever he goes.
Yeah, he sold out the Hoosier Dome.
Him and Nels would sell out Wembley a couple months after this.
Yeah. Man, that's it. Hey,
go look at his Instagram. He tells you all about it, dude.
Another tease for that show. Man. But anyway, Sean Mooney is now backstage with Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect. They're looking at a blown-up picture, supposedly a centerfold-style picture of Miss Elizabeth, but they won't show the camera.
That reminds me, I forgot to mention this at the way beginning. Did you catch at the beginning, like when they opened WrestleMania, he was looking all around for a picture? Remember that? Like him and Drill opened the show? The build up to this was that Flair and Perfect were going to blow that picture up and hang it at the top of the Hoosier Dome.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, none of this stuff would fly in 2021.
Especially what you see in the match, but yeah. Yeah,
this was just like, it's like, what were they shaming her for going out on a date with Ric Flair or what, supposedly? Hey, the payoff of this we'll get to later, but just like, the hell. But the Nature Boy does his usual magic on the mic. We now go to Mean Gene Okerlund outside.
Oh, God.
Good grief. Mean Gene Okerlund is outside the Macho Man Randy Savage's locker room, saying that Savage is not giving interviews to anyone. We now go to the World Heavyweight Title match. It is Ric Flair defending against he is the Nature Boy. It is the Nature Boy Ric Flair defending against Macho Man Randy Savage.
Literally boy versus man.
It's
in the name,
wow. Dude. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. First name Macho, last name Man. Oh yeah, check the boots. Anyway, this went about 18 minutes. I said in the style of WrestleMania 5, the champion comes out first. Ironically, Savage is the challenger that comes out second.
Well, it's his prerogative. You want to come out first.
Yeah. I have a Jax figure of this Ric Flair and a Mattel figure of this Macho Man. So
I have that Mattel of that Flair, not that Macho Man.
Oh, I didn't even know they made a Mattel of that Flair in all red.
It was the GameStop exclusive, and that one looks like an arcade box.
Ah, okay, I remember now. That's why I didn't buy it, because I was like, well, I already have it. Plus, I have like 2 Mattel Flairs already.
You can't have enough Flairs, dude. I got like 6, and they're all different.
Wow. Before the bell sounds, Mr. Perfect roughs Savage up a bit outside the ring. Flair got busted open on the railing.
Roughs him up. You sound like a father talking to a kid. Oh, rough him up.
If the Mafia were real, which they're not, but if they were, that's what they rough them up outside, and let them know. But Flair got busted open on the railing, and he nearly got fired for this afterwards because Brett made his blood look accidental while Flair clearly bladed. But it's a championship match, so Flair must bleed, pal. But after an elbow drop, Mr. Perfect yanks Savage off of the pin. The referee goes down for just for a second here, and Flair puts a foreign inanimate object on his hand, and he punches Macho Man with it. That was not the end, by the way. A parade of agents come down with Miss Elizabeth to ringside, begging her to go to the back. It's funny that one of the agents is J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. One of them is Shane McMahon, too, by the way. In the end...
With a sweet mullet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I laughed about this because The first agent you see is Dave Hebner, and he's like dressed in like an actual suit, and then he's wearing like bright white sneakers that do not match the outfit, and he's jumping around like, no, go to the bag, like he's freaking out. But anyway, in the end, Savage rolled Flair up with a pin, and he grabs the tights. I said, what a damn match. Uncle Dave said, quote, this lived up to the hype. Adieu. He gave it 4 out of 4 stars. I gave it an even 4 stars. What say you?
I gave it 4 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really effing good match. This was my favorite on the whole card. Even with the shenanigans, I loved it. And usually I take points off for it's like, there's so much going on, but it's like it fit, and I loved it. But after the match, Ric Flair gets in Elizabeth's face in the corner, yelling at her, and Liz goes off on him with slaps, sending him back. Macho Man jumps on Flair, and then Mr. Perfect jumps on Savage. Flair and Perfect beat Savage up while the agents try to separate everyone. J.J. Dillon's got Flair's blood on his jacket. Probably not the first time.
Holy crap.
Am I wrong?
Wow, I'm going to leave that alone.
What? Flair bled a lot, and J.J. Dillon was there for all of it.
No, there's just too many jokes I can make. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, cool.
Tons of pyro goes off, finally, for Savage's celebration as his theme plays. Uncle Dave notes that the show might as well have just ended right here. Yeah, I mean, we don't get much better than this. This is kind of the high point of the show. Just the main event's interesting, though. Don't go away. I had fun with the next match, I'll say.
There's another match. I was going to say, there's something else.
We'll talk about it. Sean Mooney's backstage in Ric Flair's locker room. Mr. Perfect is going nuts, and Bobby Heenan bursts in. He says, it's all on camera. Savage had the tights. Don't worry about it. And Flair
wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Flair says that they're going to reassemble their team and get the title back. Mr. Perfect goes on about how Savage is a cheater, just like his wife. And Flair gets angry and pretty rapey about Miss Elizabeth. This is where he ends his promo by saying he's going to kiss her on her moist, wet lips. And I'm like, what the frick, dude?
This was almost as bad as when Goldust said he was going to go outside and stick his tongue down people's throats. You remember that?
Yeah. You all don't shut up. I'm going to come down there and shove my tongue down all your throats. Like, bah.
Anybody think we're making that up? It's in the archives. I believe it was was it Buried Alive?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I want to say it's Buried Alive. Yikes. That was... there were children in that audience. Whatever.
Think of the children.
Then we go to Mean Gene Okerlund backstage with Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. Okerlund calls Savage out for grabbing the tights, but Savage says he doesn't care because he wants to fight Flair again so he can beat him up some more. There was a lot of passion in this promo. I loved it. I loved this this whole feud. By the way, I just thought about this the other day. They had a feud in WCW as well. Do you realize every time these two had a feud, it was very personal and involved Savage's family?
Mm-hmm.
That was nuts. I mean, I think it made it better, but I just now thought of that.
Here's a fun fact, too. Randy Savage, every time he held a world title, the person that took it from him was Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's like he only feuded with those two for the world title ever. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. And not a bad two.
And we're talking about two different companies, by the way, too. So.
Right. Hey, they were always in the mix. But we now see clips from the WrestleMania press conference where Hulk Hogan was named the #1 contender for the WWF title, and Sid gets angry about this. Then, at Saturday night's main event, in a tag team match, Sid refused to tag in Hulk Hogan, and he walks out of the match.
It's bogus!
Then, on an episode of The Barbershop, Sid Justice grabs a steel chair and he destroys the set, shouting for Hogan to come out and face him. We finished the video with clips of Sid destroying a bunch of jobbers.
Do you remember, you saw it clearly. Did you notice that he had the white stuff all over him? I think something happened where, like, shaving cream exploded or something by accident.
It was some kind of dust. It was all over the damn place. I was like, I thought it came from the barber pole, maybe, like, if there was something in it, like a powder.
I think they just use real props for, like, the barber thing, and it's like that's what a barber would use on your head or something.
Well, I couldn't tell where it came from. I just saw, I was like, what the frick? Like, something exploded all over the damn place. I'm like, all right. And apparently this was at a time, by the way, where Brutus Beefcake, they thought he was never going to wrestle again. He was still recovering from that boating accident.
Yeah. And he was starting to break his face again, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I know he didn't get physical at all with Beefcake. So, I don't know. I will say this. I mean, kudos to whatever surgeon he went to that had to reconstruct his face, man, because, I mean, I couldn't tell.
I mean, I couldn't either. Looking at it side by side, you can tell, but, like, not just looking at him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not quite as, like, for instance, like Mark Hamill. You could tell after he got into his accident, like, his face was very different. But this one...
I remember when I first watched Star Wars, I thought it was a different guy in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this one, when would he step back into the ring officially? Was it WrestleMania 9?
On WrestleMania 9, but I think he might have been on TV before that to set up WrestleMania 9. Like, he had a match, and DiBiase and IRS threatened to break his face with the briefcase or something like that.
Ah, okay. Well, hey, man, in 2.5 years from here, he'd be main eventing Starrcade, so there's that.
We'll edit this, but for fuck's sake, you said that.
Oh, come on.
Well, good Lord, I can't believe you said that. Why do you got to bring that up?
Because it was history, pal. God dang it.
It's also true that Lawrence Taylor had WrestleMania, so I don't know what's worse.
Yes. I didn't know what the hell was going on until they zoomed in here. Native Americans are filling the ring, doing a war dance and a war chant. And then we go back to Sean Mooney with Rick Martel in his locker room. Martel says that he's going to have to disinfect the ring with arrogance. And then he says that there may not even be a match because last he heard, Tatanka was still outside scalping tickets.
Because that's not racist at all.
I was like, holy mother of God. Chalk that up to things that wouldn't fly in 2021. This just, wow. I'm like, holy crap. Do you get the pass because you're French Canadian and you're kind of swarthy? I don't know, but either way, this one is the model Rick Martel versus Tatanka. It went for about 4.5 minutes. The Native Americans continue to do a war chant outside the ring when they start the match. I was like, mother of God, please don't tell me this is going to go on throughout the whole match.
What's wrong with that?
I didn't even know what, like...
Oh, it's not really a gimmick. It's his life.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I heard I've heard war chants in the past, whatever, but this one sounded like, I don't know, really weird to me. I was like, what are they doing? And, like, it took me a minute to figure it out. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, Tatanka wins with a running crossbody into a pin that seems to stun everyone, including Tatanka himself. Dave Meltzer said, quote, the entrance was longer than the match, and neither one got over. He gave it 1 1/4 star. I gave it 1.5 stars. What say you?
I gave it 1, but man, I remember 11 Tatanka when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. And have you officially got this figure, or are you trying to?
I don't have that one, but I have a Tatanka Elite. This one just came out.
Okay, yeah. Because I know you said you were trying to get it. I didn't know if you ordered it yet or not.
No, I'm hoping to find it in stores because you can't order it really.
Ah, okay. Now, for those who don't know what we're talking about, he's wearing tights in this one. I think this is the only time he ever wore tights, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I thought it looked kind of weird. I didn't really care for it, but whatever. Up next, Sean Mooney is in Money Inc.'s locker room where they talk trash and laugh like mustache-twirling heels. We then go to Mean Gene and Okerlund backstage with the Natural Disasters who scream and shout and smack each other's chests. So There's that.
Is it just me, by the way, or were they very incoherent? I couldn't understand.
I couldn't hear over all that party in the back from Typhoon's hair. That mullet was
high
and tight. Just mwah. And think about this. He was in the World Tag Title match here at WrestleMania 8, and soon he would go on to be the Shockmaster, wouldn't he?
Yeah, a year later, a year and a half, something like that.
Oh, man. Uncle Fred is moving up in the world, man. Anyway.
Good God.
This is Money Inc.
I think that's Uncle Fred. No matter what Cody ever does in his life, that's going to be his legacy.
Yep.
And we didn't say it on TV or documented at all. We just know it because Dusty said.
Yep. That's pretty sad. And then he would go on to just dress like a construction worker and be the butt of every joke. Yikes. But anyway, we get Money Inc., Ted DiBiase, and Erwin R. Shyster. They have Jimmy Hart in their corner. They are defending the WWF World Tag Titles against the Natural Disasters, Earthquake, and Typhoon. I will say this is a step up from Tugboat. This went about 8.5 minutes. This match, man, first of all, this is the second time the champions come out first and the challengers come out second. But, you know.
That's a thing for you, isn't it?
It's just odd when I see it, like a stark contrast for me. And the disaster, well, I mean, you got to have the disasters come out second because they're going to get the big reaction, right? I mean,
well, yeah, half the building is going to be imploded because of the earthquakes they modify in there.
Right.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to think that was like legit too. I thought like the building was actually shaking when he came out because they would shake the cameras to give the effect.
Yeah.
So I really thought it was shaking when I was a kid.
Did you also think the temperature dropped whenever Glacier came out?
No, but I did for the Undertaker.
Ah, okay. Well, that one might actually be legit because I guess they used like dry ice.
Actually, we've been there. It is legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that. You remember? Because we were like only like maybe less than 100 yards from the ramp when he came out, and you could feel it.
I remember being like feeling the fire, but I don't remember the coldness.
Yeah, I remember. Not to get off track here, but I remember being an episode of Raw in the Cow Palace, and Booker T's pyro was going off. Well, not. Well, he had two. It was Kane's pyro in the ring, and I was on the corner of the ramp, first row, corner ramp, best seats I ever had. And he did the thing with his hands, and the post went up, dude. I swear to you, some of the hair on my arms burned off. Yeah.
Imagine how he feels. But anyway, full disclosure, I was a fan of the natural disasters as a kid, so.
Yeah, you know, I can attest. I can tell you it's true because when we were in New York, we were at Target or at Toys R Us in Times Square. Man, you jumped on the earthquake when you saw it.
Yeah, I've got Earthquake in his blue, like his singles attire, and then I've got a Typhoon as well. So I got both of them. Not matching attires, but, you know, still got them. Either way, the Natural Disasters spend the whole match beating the hell out of Money Inc. The match ends with the tag champs saying, "Fuck it," and they leave, losing via countout. Uncle Dave simply said, quote, "Oh, this was bad."
You don't say.
He gave it -2 stars. I just gave it a star. What say you?
I gave it a star, but it's like, I don't know if I want to qualify this as a match. I feel like it never even got off.
Yeah. I love how the World Tag Title match at WrestleMania ends with them going, nah. They just leave. They had so many weird, inventive ways to not make the Natural Disasters the tag champions. Do you realize that? So stupid. But now we go back. Mean Gene Okerlund is backstage with Brutus, the effing Barber Beefcake, so that Beefcake can suck the butt of Hulk Hogan before the main event.
Good lord, dude.
He did. The whole time he was talking about, oh, Hogan is so awesome. I love him. I'm a big Hulkamaniac. He's the greatest. Like, what was the point of this?
Because Tugboat turned on him.
Yeah.
Someone had to do it.
And now we need Brutus. All right, this next match, let's get through this one quickly. Owen Hart versus Skinner in 1 minute and 11 seconds. Skinner starts the match by spitting.
Sorry. Oh, okay, cool. You're going to say it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I got to rewind a little bit. It's Owen Hart versus Skinner. Yeah. But Skinner starts the match by spitting in Owen's face. Owen gets the pinfall with an O'Connor roll. Okay. Wow.
Sorry, did you notice, though, it went right in his mouth?
Ew, God, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, it missed the whole upper part of his face, went right to, like, his nose and below.
Oh, gosh.
That's what I thought you were going to say. I'm like, oh,
no.
Lord, I feel so bad for Owen seeing that.
Yeah, it went in his...
Because for Bruce Pritchard, he really used tobacco.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, it landed right on Owen's very prominent nose, we'll say.
Oh.
Well, that was always the thing, him and Triple H. Jason Sensation, he was like, we can stand a mile apart and still be nose to nose.
I look like a damn aardvark.
But anyway, Owen gets a pin with an O'Connor roll while Skinner was being stupid and playing to the crowd. And the most obvious statement of the year 1992, Uncle Dave said, quote, Owen looks terrible in that outfit. You don't say.
That was like the style, though, for the time, so.
Neon hammer pants with checkered designs on the side, and he wore suspenders.
Oh, eventually he would. Yeah, no, actually, wait. Did he already team up with Birdman? Were they already high energy and he left? I think he was already gone. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But
no, wait. I think high energy's coming. Never mind. High energy's coming. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, can't wait for that one. But Uncle Dave and I both gave this a dud. It was barely a match. What do you give it?
I gave it 1. I had a chuckle at the beginning, and the way they were both dressed looked like rejects at the people that do the YMCA song.
Oh, Village People.
Yeah, it looked like Village People rejects with the way they were dressed. It's like,
yeah, I felt like with the way Owen was dressed and the way Skinner was dressed, Skinner was going to throw some non-PC accusations at Owen's way, and that's why they got into a fight.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all I'm going to say. But anyway,
what else needs to be said?
Mean Gene Okerlund is backstage with Sid Justice and Dr. Harvey Whippleman. Sid shouts at us and says that he's the master and ruler, and Hogan is but the learner. And then he promises that this will be Hulk Hogan's last match. We then cut to a video clip of Vince McMahon straight up asking Hogan if he's retiring. Hogan says that, or he gets really personal, and he says that he won't know if WrestleMania 8 will be his last match until he wrestles it, and Vince thanks him for all the memories. We now go back to Sid Justice in his locker room, who shouts at us some more, saying that he's going to end Hulkamania, and he said he curses you, Hulk Hogan, and he curses Hulkamania. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I bought that, sure.
I curse you, Hulk Hogan. I'm like, wrong gimmick, pal. Papa Shango comes out later. Maybe that was to set it up. I never even thought of that. Or maybe I'm thinking too much, like giving this way too much weight. I don't know.
Are.
All right, but anyway, we're going to take our second to last break. When we come back, it is the main event time.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the sport of kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, main event. It's Sid Justice with Dr. Harvey Whippleman taking on Hulk Hogan in 12 minutes, 44 seconds. I didn't notice this until, just now. You notice he wore the colorful trunks, Sid, that is, until he started going full until he started going full heel, and then he switched to black. Did you notice that?
I did, yeah.
I didn't even think about it until that. I was like, oh, he was wearing black. I thought he only wore the colorful trunks at this time. But anyway, Sid jumps Hogan during Hogan's entrance, but Hulk fights back while his music blares. I did make this note. Jim Cornette claims that he nicknamed Sid Psycho Sid when he came back to the WWF, but Heenan and Monsoon call him that and beat that name home like a million times during this match, if you noticed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, really? Cornette thinks that nobody watched WWF before?
Shocker.
Yeah. But anyway, Sid hits a chokeslam, a powerbomb, and uses the doctor bag of Whippleman on Hogan. But that doesn't put the Hulkster away. Then Sid kicks out of a big leg drop because...
reasons.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that here in a bit. Anyway, he kicks out of the leg drop as Harvey Whippleman, gets on the apron and he gets involved, and they call for a DQ after he gets involved. Uncle Dave said, quote, "One of the 3 worst main events in pay-per-view history." However, he said he is impressed that Hogan has so much charisma that he can take a match like this, which is completely devoid of anything, and generate interest in it. He gave it -2 stars. I gave it 1 star because honestly, it sucked. What say you?
I gave it 1 star, and the post-match is better than the actual match.
That's saying something. Getting into it, after the match is officially over, Papa Shango runs in and he beats Hogan up, tying him in the ropes. All of a sudden, the Ultimate Warrior's music hits and he runs out to help. Hogan and Warrior completely clear the ring. Hogan grabs a chair, and after this, it's Hulk and Warrior must pose, pal.
Yeah.
I know you were saying
Dude,
you blew up for this one.
Even watching it back, I was like, holy crap, man. I forgot how giddy I got. Like when I heard that music. Because when I was a kid, I didn't know why he was gone. He was just gone. And there he is. And don't care what people said about the guy. I'll always be a huge fan of Ultimate Warrior. But yeah, I just went ape shit. Sorry, we'll blur that. When he came back out. And then the Papa Shango thing, though, I still think he gets too much crap for that because apparently he was not told to go.
Wow. Yeah,
so,
somebody.
I saw an interview with him. He said he didn't miss any cue. He was never told to go. They said, go now. And it was already too late.
Wow.
So it's kind of messed up that he gets that bad rap.
The main event of WrestleMania, and you forget to send out the guy who's going to lead to the finish.
Well, none of that matters because you know how it's going to end. And I wanted to get to this. Why did this match end the show and not the WWE title match? Why?
Warrior? I don't know.
Because Hulk must pose.
Oh, well, yeah.
How the hell did you miss that?
Well, I already said Hulk must pose. It's your turn now. But, yeah, Hulk and Warrior posed. I have a Mattel figure of that Warrior, by the way. So, a lot of WrestleMania 8 Mattel figures. But, yeah, this would lead to the epic Papa Shango and Warrior feud. Gosh.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, well, Warrior vomited.
It was so bad.
Yeah. Warrior vomited black goop, and while Shango put a curse on him.
Yeah, they just brought that back on Raw, too.
Yeah, right? Man, you would think we planned this. God help us. But anyway, that does it for WrestleMania 8. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, we're going to do a quick wrap-up telling you our final ratings for the show and what's to come next week. We'll be right back.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the sport of kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. Final ratings time. IMDb gave this 7.4 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 7.19 out of 10. I gave it an even 7 out of 10. Like a C-. What say you?
I gave it a B+. I really liked this show.
I really liked 2 matches. There were a couple other matches I thought were decent. But yeah, so I mean, for a historical show, I thought it was really good. Had a lot of good stuff on it. I really did like the year 1992, which, like I said, you and I need to review more of moving forward. But yeah, good stuff, man. I I do not regret watching this show. I really wanted to get to this. But next week, something I may regret. It's you're going to take a substitution next week, and Jacob Grandi's going to step in for you from Curtain Jerkin. We are going to review ECW's Living Dangerously 2000. Never seen the show. I don't know if it's any good, but it's ECW.
I don't remember either,
so
but
it's ECW, so I'm going to assume it's not all that great. But I don't know. But you will be back with us, Greg, on the 17th. We are going to review WWE WrestleMania 17. That one I am very amped for. Probably my favorite WrestleMania of all time.
I think it's in my top 2.
It's historic. It's amazing. Lots of historical stuff and lots of news to talk about from that time period too. I mean, the obvious of WCW shutting down is.
Oh, well, thanks for the spoilers.
Oh man, yeah. And this is an anniversary because we are officially 20 years removed from that WrestleMania. Think about that. 2 decades since that happened, man.
I'm looking forward to watching TLC 2 back.
That match, I think top to bottom, this. I mean, I'm sure not every match was 5-star, Tokyo Dome classics, but a lot of great stuff to talk about there. And one more time, our sponsors are Fubo TV and Fanatics. Links are down in the description. Let them know that we sent you. And don't forget, if you're not listening to us on the Unhinged Sports Network, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, we are on unhingedsn.com. And if you missed us, you can check us out the whole show tomorrow, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, also on unhingedsn.com. Thanks for joining me today, Greg. And we will see you next week. Me and Jacob coming at you with ECW.